Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been about a week since I've last done any work on this thing. Last we left off, I took out that fender, I took out the headlight, I took off the front bumper, and we kind of looked at the damage and said, yeah, we got to get this measured. So yeah, that's where we're at today. We're going to start dissecting a little bit more of this so that we can accurately measure the frame. And to do that, I found some monocoque diagrams, and basically, yeah, we got to take off this fender. We got to rip that off. We got to rip out this headlight, and then obviously this crash bar, so that way we can look at what's going on up front here. Because I am like fully ready to pretty much replace this whole entire upper core support, because that thing's obviously thrashed. So yeah, I gotta find out where I can get one of those. I'm still looking on Craigslist. I found a parts car, but it was kind of rusty. I don't wanna go down that path because rust is no bueno. Obviously, if you guys are from the north, you know about rust. But anyways, so yeah, this is my tool. I made it out of a piece of angled aluminum instead of angle iron. That allows it to stay rigid and straight. And basically I took a piece of mahogany, drilled a hole in it, put a 7/16 inch threaded rod through that, and also used a table saw to put a slot in that piece of mahogany as well. So that way you can slide it up and down this angled aluminum and still get a accurate measurement. So that way you can clamp it down and take this elsewhere and then just measure the distance between those 2 points. So yeah, all I did on those guys was beveled the edges, so that way when you put it into, for example, that hole right there, that's a frame reference hole. When you put it in one of those, it kind of centers that all up, so it gives you some continuity between your measurements. So yeah, I think I'm going to do a time lapse of just me tearing down this front end further. I'll start with the headlight, maybe move on to the fender, and then move on to this bumper crash bar, and yeah, let's get to it. Alright, you guys, we got some good news. That frame reference hole right next to that wire there to the one equally on the opposite side here underneath that piece of tape is exactly within spec. So to me, the accident came in this direction diagonally, boom, hits pretty much right next to that reference hole. And that's still perfectly straight. So what I'm going to do now is verify that by taking another measurement from that strut tower. I'm going to take one from that mounting bolt to that side that I went to the other reference hole with. And that'll give me some more confirmation that this thing's still straight and that everything's within spec. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's take a measurement from that strut tower to that frame reference hole over there. So yes, we are still square. So like I said, I took a measurement from this strut tower to that other frame reference hole, and it is exactly, at least to my knowledge, within spec. Granted, this contraption that I made is not typically what you would use to measure a frame. They have very precise versions of these meant for professional work. I am not a professional whatsoever. Let me just throw a disclaimer in there. I am just going based off of what I've seen in the past and using that today. So yeah, from what I could tell, the spec calls for 35.87 inches from there to there. I just measured from there to there, and it is 35 7/8 of an inch. So you do 7 divided by 8, that comes out to 0.87. So bam, it's within, what is it, 10 thousandths of an inch. So yeah, let's go, baby. We are making moves. Now we could start pretty much just tearing this shit down. I'm not even gonna take this off. I'm not gonna take off that crash bar. I'm not gonna take off that fender unless I absolutely need to. It doesn't seem like I will. I can probably snake that when I go to replace this core support. I can probably snake that around those bolt holes there. I guess I can start looking at what it means to take apart this apron or take it off. I'm excited. I'm not even gonna bother pulling it unless I need to in order to get to some spot welds, but now that I found that out, I'm like, hey, what's the point, you know? What's the point of pulling all this out? You know it's gonna have to be replaced anyways. Yeah, cool. I'm excited. Are you guys excited? Because I'm excited. Alright guys, I think I know where I'm going to go next here. I'm going to start taking off this core support because I actually have I told you guys, I have a car lined up, a shell. The guy won't sell me the shell, but he will let me take parts of it off of it, and it's actually black, so it's perfect. I'm gonna learn how to take off that core support, just the upper portion, so that way when I go to take it off of his, I'll know exactly what to do. And then we'll see if I can start attacking this apron over here. I don't know if I'll be able to get to it tonight, but we'll see how the night goes. All right, let's get to it. Alrighty guys, this is making some progress here. We got the spot welds drilled out with that spot weld drill bit. It's getting close to the point where I can rip this completely off. The only thing I gotta watch out for is on this side there's this weird like collar that goes over this top piece and where it meets up to this bottom piece. So what I got to do is I actually do have to take this fender off, or at least not fully, but enough so I can get it out of the way. And then I can actually take that collar off, this guy from here to there, take that off, and then I'll be able to separate this top portion away from the bottom portion here, because this side is all good. It's the other side that's obviously all trash. So when I get the replacement part, I'll only grab this top portion on this side, and then on the other side I'll grab that full section. But yeah, so if you guys never drilled out spot welds before, don't use a drill bit. Use something like this. I got this on Amazon, 3/8 rotary spot weld cutter. It was like $12, and it literally works very well. It prevents you from drilling too far through. It does it all. It's just awesome. Give it a shot. Usually whenever I've used these, when I worked in the body shop, they used to break on me all the time. With this one, I don't know if it's just experience, but maybe I'm just going a little slower since I'm not on the clock. These haven't broken on me yet. Usually they break right off the bat. Watch, now that I go to do the next spot weld, it's gonna break. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go grab some grub, take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll get this fender off, and we'll hopefully have that top portion off, and we can get some better visibility on that apron. See what we got to do there. Alrighty, ladies and gents, we got that core support off, and like I said before, I was trying to separate that top section from the bottom, and I was able to successfully do that, although this little collar here kind of got messed up a little bit in the process, but I'll be able to, mend that back into shape and weld it up and smooth out the metal, make it look pretty close to OEM again. So that's no big deal. Yeah, so now I know how to take that off. So I'm gonna call up this dude and schedule something with him, and then in the meantime figure out how to take that apron off. So in the next episode, you guys will see me taking off that apron. Basically gonna go for the frame rail here, out, up, and wherever it meets up to back here. I haven't really looked at it too much yet, but it looks like it's kind of sandwiched in between this piece and somewhere back here. So I gotta look a little deeper. It looks pretty involved, not gonna lie. Probably gonna be taking a lot of shit out. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do in regards to that just yet, but this is what it's all about, learn as you go. So yeah, I feel like we're actually making some progress here. Got that off. I decided not to take off that bumper tie there, because if anything was actually, if there's any tension anywhere, if I were to take that off, that would have threw something else out of whack. I mean, that's just in my mind how I thought it would have worked, but I feel like leaving that center support there and tying those two frame rails together is the safe route, you know, not pulling that off entirely. So look out for the next video. We'll be tackling that side there. Now that we have this top section off, we are moving right along here, folks. Feel like we should be nearing reassembly in the next few weeks. So stay tuned.